Let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt like you've been playing by the wrong rules in relationships? Like no matter how much you give, how much you care, how much you sacrifice, something always seems off. Over 200 years ago, a philosopher named Arthur Schopenhauer cracked the code of human relationships in a way that most people are still too afraid to face. Stay with me, because this isn't just about men and women. It's about understanding a truth so deep, so uncomfortable, that it can completely change how you see the world. Most people believe love is this beautiful, mystical thing. But Schopenhauer? He believed it was all an illusion, an evolutionary trick. He argued that what we call love isn't some divine connection between souls. No, it's biology at its finest, designed purely to ensure survival and reproduction. And before you write this off as a cynical view, hear me out. What Schopenhauer pointed out over 200 years ago has never been more relevant in today's world. He saw love as a fleeting chemical reaction. Once it serves its purpose, creating life, it fades. Plain and simple. But let me break it down even further. Think about those moments of intense attraction, the feeling of being swept off your feet, the belief that this person is the one. Your brain isn't just falling in love. It's doing a much more complex job. It's calculating fertility, genetic compatibility, and whether this person could help your DNA survive. It's cold, but it's real. This isn't some romanticized fairy tale. This is survival. Here's where things get a little uncomfortable. Women's attraction isn't driven by love in the way most men believe. It's driven by a primal urge to find security, status, and genetic strength. When women choose partners, they're not picking based on fairness or loyalty. They're instinctively drawn to the qualities that will give them and their potential offspring the best chance of survival. If a man can't provide status or security, his devotion doesn't matter. The emotional connection? It comes second, if at all. Schopenhauer nailed it when he said, "Love is the ultimate goal of almost all human effort." But here's the kicker. He wasn't saying it in a romantic sense. He meant it as a fleeting biological game. Think about it. How many men have invested their entire lives in a woman, only to see her walk away without a second thought? How many marriages crumble when the initial spark fades? That's not just bad luck. That's nature's plan. Now, this is where the game gets tricky. Most men think that if they're kind, thoughtful, and put a woman on a pedestal, they'll win her heart. They believe that if they give enough, if they prove their worth, they'll get the love they've always wanted. But here's where Schopenhauer drops a bombshell. To be loved, one must not be just, but clever. Women aren't naturally attracted to the nice guy. They're drawn to strength. Strength that's not just physical, but social, financial, and psychological. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how women seem more drawn to men who don't need them, the ones who have their own lives, their own purpose? It's not about being a jerk. It's about being someone who doesn't revolve around them. Nice guys often finish last, not because they're bad, but because they've misunderstood the game. They believe love is earned by service. But for women, attraction is about the opposite. They want someone who doesn't need to serve them. Here's something else Schopenhauer pointed out. Ever wonder why women tend to lose interest once they've got you? Why does the thrill seem to disappear once the conquest is over? Schopenhauer calls this the tragedy of possession. The excitement isn't in having something, it's in conquering it. Once a woman has secured a man, her instincts move on. And that's when things fall apart for most men. They've given everything, made her the center of their world, and now they're watching her walk away. But here's the catch. This isn't women's fault. It's nature's design. Men who understand this don't waste time blaming others. They adapt. They realize that love isn't this grand fantasy. It's more of a negotiation. And if you approach that negotiation from a position of weakness, you'll lose every time. So far, we've learned a lot. But here's where it gets darker. Schopenhauer saw something that most modern men refuse to admit. The rules of attraction are unfair. They're not logical, and they're definitely not designed to favor you. Today's society might preach equality, but biology doesn't care about society's rules. It follows its own laws. And the man who ignores this biological reality, he's already at a disadvantage. It's simple. Women hold the power in relationships. And it's not because they're cruel or manipulative. It's because nature has designed them to be the selectors. Think about it. A woman's value peaks at a young age, driven by her fertility and beauty. Men, on the other hand, must work their entire lives to build their status, wealth, and strength. Schopenhauer didn't pull any punches when he described women as childish, frivolous, and short-sighted. But he wasn't insulting them. He was simply stating an evolutionary truth. A woman's greatest currency? Youth and beauty. And she knows exactly how to use it to her advantage. But here's where the modern man gets caught in a paradox. He's told to embrace vulnerability, to open up emotionally. He's told that being authentic is the key to a successful relationship. But at the same time, we live in a world where women are still drawn to men who exude strength and dominance, especially in the dating world. You see it on dating apps, where the top 20% of men get the attention of 80% of the women. You see it in the workplace, where the man who provides is often the one most at risk of losing it all. His marriage, his savings, his peace of mind. And here's the kicker. Schopenhauer warned of this centuries ago. He understood that women are biologically wired to seek the best mate they can find. In his words, women are suited to being the nurses and teachers of our childhood by the very fact that they themselves are childish, frivolous, and short-sighted. While this may sound harsh, it's not an insult. It's biology at work. Women are wired to use their youth and beauty to secure the best possible mate. And once that biological peak starts to fade, so does their interest in a man. But here's where things get really dangerous. Women haven't just embraced this power, they've weaponized it. Social media has transformed attention into an economy, and men are the unpaid workers. Men orbit, compete for scraps, and invest time and energy into women who may never give them anything in return. Why? Because they've been sold a lie. That devotion alone is enough to win a woman's heart. Schopenhauer saw the trap coming long before dating apps and the Me Too movements took hold. He warned, women are systematically trained to be incapable of genuine love. And while this may sound like a harsh accusation, there's truth to it. Women's love is conditional, and it's directly tied to what a man can provide. The moment he stops providing, whether that's status, money, or emotional fulfillment, the relationship is over. Now, let's talk about the two types of men Schopenhauer highlighted: the beta male and the alpha male. The beta male exhausts himself trying to prove his worth. He believes that if he sacrifices enough, gives enough, works hard enough, he will be rewarded with love and loyalty. The alpha male, on the other hand, doesn't beg for loyalty. He commands it. He doesn't chase women. Women chase him. And that's the key difference. The beta male is the office worker who sacrifices his health to climb the corporate ladder, hoping it will win his wife's respect. He's the gym rat who transforms his body only to realize that women are interested in him, just for casual encounters. He's the guy who spends his paycheck on a woman who will ghost him the moment a higher status man walks into the picture. These men aren't victims. They're volunteers. They're playing by the wrong rules. Schopenhauer didn't just diagnose the problem, he also revealed the solution. The first step to survival in today's world is to see things for what they really are. The man who thrives today isn't the one who clings to outdated romantic ideals. It's the one who understands the game and plays it on his own terms. Now, here's the hardest pill to swallow. It's not about women. It's about you. The moment you accept that, everything changes. Schopenhauer discovered a disturbing truth that modern psychology now confirms. Women don't compete like men do. They don't challenge you head on. They don't flex their power where you can see it. No, their greatest weapon is invisible, instinctive, and devastatingly effective: emotional influence. While men fight with fists, with logic, with power, women fight with perception. When a man wants something, he demands it. When a woman wants something, she makes you believe it was your idea all along. Schopenhauer put it simply: women are adapted to a sedentary life by their lack of physical strength, and to the care of children by their natural inclination. Hence, they live more in the present than men. This present moment focus gives women an advantage. They can read micro-expressions, tone shifts, and social dynamics with uncanny accuracy. A man thinks he's having a conversation, but a woman is conducting an interrogation. Modern men believe they're in control of their relationships, but they're wrong. From the first date to the divorce papers, women are subtly testing and guiding the interaction. They use a variety of tests to measure a man's value and emotional strength. Ever heard of the compliance test? It's when she sees how quickly you'll rearrange your life and priorities for her. The frame test is when she tests whether you'll stand your ground or fold to her whims. If you chase more than she does, you've already lost. Schopenhauer saw this coming long ago. Women are instinctively crafty. They possess an innate talent for deception, not because they're evil, but because it's how they've survived. In a world where physical strength didn't guarantee survival, emotional intelligence became the ultimate currency. The women who couldn't navigate male psychology didn't pass on their genes. Modern men often walk blindly into these traps, mistaking attention for genuine interest. But Schopenhauer revealed the darker truth. Women are most attracted to men who don't need them. The moment you make a woman, your purpose is the moment she loses respect for you. It explains why nice guys finish last, why marriages fall apart when men sacrifice their ambitions, and why women are drawn to emotionally unavailable men. Every interaction with a woman is, in a sense, a battle for dominance. And most men lose this battle before they even realize it started. Women often use subtle tactics to maintain control, using emotions to manipulate, testing your confidence, withholding affection, and using tears to avoid accountability. Schopenhauer referred to this as the tyranny of the weak, where women leverage perceived vulnerability to control stronger adversaries. The man who falls for it becomes a slave to her whims, but the man who recognizes it becomes unstoppable. The truth is, every interaction is a negotiation, and the one who holds the emotional leverage holds the power. If you allow her to become the center of your world, if you bend to her every whim, you've already lost the battle. But the man who understands that love isn't about sacrifice, it's about strength, independence, and negotiation, becomes a force to be reckoned with. So, what does this all mean for you? It's simple. The first step to freedom is understanding the game. Once you realize that female nature isn't personal, it's biological, you stop taking things personally. You stop begging for loyalty and start inspiring it. The most dangerous lies in this game aren't the ones women tell men. They're the lies that men tell themselves. The idea that devotion alone is enough, that if they care enough, give enough, they'll get the love they deserve. The truth is, love is conditional, and it's based on what you bring to the table. But here's the good news. Once you stop chasing love, and start focusing on your own growth, everything shifts. The man who wakes up to this truth doesn't resent women. He adapts. He understands that his value doesn't depend on anyone's approval. He becomes the prize, and women must meet his standards or watch from the sidelines. Schopenhauer's most liberating truth? It's not about defeating women. It's about transcending the game entirely. The key to lasting success and happiness doesn't come from chasing external validation, especially not from women. Schopenhauer famously said, "The happiness which we receive from ourselves is greater than that which we obtain from our surroundings." The modern man who stops begging for love, approval, or fairness suddenly finds that those things come to him naturally. Why? Because he's removed himself from the desperate masses. He's focused on something bigger, his own purpose. And in doing so, he becomes the man that women are naturally drawn to. Not because he chases them, but because he's too busy building his empire, too busy living a life worth following. Schopenhauer laid out 3 key pillars that can help you achieve this unshakable masculinity. They're simple, but incredibly powerful. First, economic sovereignty. Money isn't about what it buys. It's about the freedom it secures. The man who controls his finances controls his fate. It's not about being rich. It's about being free to live life on your own terms. Second, philosophical depth. Most men live their lives on autopilot. The exceptional man doesn't. He's constantly thinking, reading, and questioning the world around him. He's cultivated a mind sharp enough to cut through society's lies and think for himself. And third, physical mastery. Your body is the vessel of your will. It's not just a tool for attraction. It's a tool for success. A weak body breeds a weak mind. Physical mastery is about discipline and consistency. It's the foundation upon which all other aspects of life are built. The moment you stop seeking validation from others, especially from women, is the moment your life changes. Schopenhauer's ultimate lesson was this: we forfeit 3/4 of ourselves in order to be like other people. In other words, stop trying to fit in with the masses. Stop chasing illusions. Embrace the truth of who you are and build your life around your purpose. The man who does this becomes the prize, and he doesn't have to chase anyone for approval. The real power lies in self-mastery. The man who wakes up to this truth stops resenting women and starts embracing his own path. He understands that life isn't about winning the approval of others. It's about winning his own respect. Now, you may be wondering, how do I stop playing by the wrong rules? How do I break free from the cycle of chasing and losing? The answer is simpler than you think. It starts with shifting your mindset from being reactive to proactive. You stop trying to please others, and you start focusing on your own growth. This is where true power comes from, not in dominating women or trying to control every situation, but in controlling your own life. Schopenhauer's ultimate point was that the most successful men throughout history didn't achieve greatness by chasing love or validation. They chased something far bigger, their own purpose. History's most remarkable men, the inventors, artists, warriors, and leaders, understood this. They didn't seek women to validate their worth. They sought greatness, and women, in turn, were drawn to their strength, their purpose, and their commitment to something larger than themselves. To break free, you need to adopt what I call the red pill mindset. This isn't about hating women. It's about understanding them, and in doing so, understanding yourself. When you stop looking to others for approval, you become the prize. When you stop thinking of love as something to earn or chase, you make yourself the object of desire, not just in relationships, but in every area of your life. Schopenhauer's lesson isn't just for relationships, it's about life itself. Stop chasing validation and start building the life you want. That's how you transcend the game. The man who truly thrives is the one who doesn't let his self-worth depend on others. He doesn't beg for love. He commands respect. He builds an empire of his own. And everything else, love, validation, success, comes naturally as a result. It's all about self-respect. The more you value yourself, the more others will value you. This is the fundamental law of attraction. Men who respect themselves don't beg for attention. They don't chase validation from others because they already know their worth. This self-respect is what draws women in, not because you're desperate for their attention, but because you're focused on your own path. Schopenhauer's greatest revelation was that happiness doesn't come from external sources. It comes from within. The man who stops depending on women, society, or anyone else for happiness is the one who achieves true freedom. His happiness is self-made. His value isn't defined by others. It's defined by his own standards. The final truth? It's not about winning or losing in the game of relationships. It's about transcending the game altogether. The man who understands this becomes unstoppable. He knows that life isn't about chasing illusions or chasing approval. It's about finding your own path, building your own empire, and becoming the man you were always meant to be. Schopenhauer's ultimate lesson: the safest way of not being very miserable is not to expect to be very happy. This isn't about pessimism. It's about emotional armor. The man who doesn't expect happiness from others becomes impervious to the ups and downs of life. He takes control of his own happiness, his own success, and his own destiny. When you stop expecting happiness to come from external sources, that's when it truly flows into your life. The man who no longer needs validation becomes a magnet for everything he truly desires, because he's not chasing it anymore. He's living his life on his own terms. The battle between men and women is not personal. It's not about hatred or resentment. It's about understanding the biological forces at play. The man who wakes up to this reality stops blaming the world and starts evolving. He doesn't resent female nature. He adapts to it. He builds a life so compelling, so valuable, that women and the world must either meet his standards or watch from the sidelines. The choice is yours. You can keep chasing illusions, or you can step into your true power and build a life that's so compelling, so remarkable, that everything else becomes a bonus. Schopenhauer's message wasn't about defeating women. It was about mastering yourself. It's time to wake up, stop chasing the game, and start transcending it.